guys, it's Arlette, blogger and joy strategist at Chasing Joy, and I'm back to give you guys a baby making update. So not much has happened really since my last video. The last video you guys saw was the ERA. I'm still waiting for those results. The ERA is the endometrial receptor array. I think I was calling it an endometrial receptor analysis, but I think array is actually the proper name. But anyway, those results are supposed to take 2 to 3 weeks. I think it's now been, I guess tomorrow will be Monday. I guess that'll be like a week and a half, so halfway through the waiting period. Speaking of days, today is Sunday, June 18th. Today is Father's Day. So Father's Day has been rough for me for, since I lost my dad several years ago. So but each year gets easier. So I didn't really do anything special today. I went to the movies. I went to see Wonder Woman, which was good. I enjoyed it a lot. And not to spoil, hopefully this isn't a spoiler or anything, but at one point she's asked about her father, and she says that she doesn't have one, that her mom molded her from clay and Zeus gave her life. And so I whispered to my cousin, that's what I'm going to tell my kid, that I molded them from clay. So obviously I'm joking, but it was funny, and that part of the movie, I don't know, I just kind of liked it. But anyway, sometimes I think, how will I spend Father's Day when, I do have my child, and I don't really know. Like I said, my dad has passed on, so it's not like we can really focus on, the kid's grandfather, or one pop. That's what my dad had liked to be called by my brother's kids. So we won't be able to do that, but, my brother is a good dad, so hopefully my kid comes along, we'll just make a card for the uncle, and maybe some other male friends in my life. A couple of my friends who are married or have kids and their kids' father is involved. My kid will obviously know them because they'll be playing with their kids, so we can always do something just make cards for all the dads that we know, and so that the kid can enjoy the holiday. Just because I'm pursuing the single mother by choice route does not mean I don't appreciate men or dads. I had a great dad. So I wouldn't want to in any way be negative toward the holiday. But anyway, I have time to figure that out because I'm not even pregnant yet. But just something that I do think about when Father's Day rolls around. So anyway, what I was going to talk to you guys about, pretty quickly, because I've already rambled too long, was just the progesterone. So I kind of let you guys know on a couple of the previous videos that there was something interesting happening with me regarding progesterone. So I figure I will bring you guys up to speed on that, since I don't have anything new TTC wise to report, since I'm still waiting on those ERA results. So you guys saw me doing video of giving myself progesterone injection in the past, and I'll try to link to that in the comments. I had no issue giving myself the needle. So and I did progesterone in oil shots with the frozen embryo transfer. And the reason for that was, I think with the fresh transfer I just did the Prometrium. And they said when there's a frozen embryo transfer, because my body has not actually ovulated, there's no, I think it's pronounced corpus luteum. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But the sac, the empty sac where the egg comes out, turns into a type of cyst that produces progesterone. So since I didn't actually ovulate, that didn't happen. So my body was not producing any progesterone, and therefore I had to completely supplement it, which is why they do the injections, versus with the fresh transfer, your body is making some progesterone because you did ovulate. You actually ovulated a bunch of eggs, hopefully for your IVF. And so the Prometrium just kind of supplements. So I didn't have any problems doing the progesterone in oil injections. They went fine. I did them approximately 3 weeks because it's about a week before the transfer and then about 2 weeks after. And there was no issues, and I believe the base that I was doing was peanut oil. And so when I realized that the transfer didn't work, and then I did the beta and it was officially a not this time, I stopped the progesterone. And a couple of days later I woke up and I had like an itchy spot on my arm, like here and here, and I was like scratching, you know, and I thought something like bit me. So first I was kind of freaking out, like what could be my bed and bite me. So I pulled all my sheets and stuff off and like washed everything. Didn't see anything. I'm always kind of paranoid of like bed bugs and stuff like that. Nothing. Everything seemed fine. As the day went on, I realized that I was itching in more places. So all along my lower back, exactly where I had been giving myself the injections, was itching. By the time I got home from work and could kind of take my clothes off and look, there was all red and welts and hives everywhere where I had done the injections. So the spots were already bruised and sore from the injections, but now they were itchy and hives. And then the hives proceeded to go all the way down my behind, onto my legs. They were then creeping up my back, across my back, and then my arms were still itching, and I was miserable. I was so miserable. I immediately started taking Benadryl, and I did call my nurse, and we discussed it, and we said it was so weird because it's odd that I would start getting the hives after I had already stopped the progesterone. So the nurse was thinking maybe it wasn't the progesterone. Coincidentally, around that time, so this was in, I want to say April. Yeah, I want to say the end of March, early April that I was doing the progesterone. So this is now in April. Right around that time, the weather warmed up here in Philly, so I started working out outside. I started walking. For those of you who follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, you see that I get out there and I walk a couple miles a few times a week. So I'm still trying to fight this battle of the bulge and whatnot. Lately I feel like I've been losing, but that's another topic for another video. But anyway, coincidentally, I had just started working out outside around that time too. So we weren't sure if I had gotten exposed to something while walking outside or what. So I was so miserable with these hives, and I was doing Benadryl and everything. Another coincidental thing, or I don't know if coincidental is the right word, but another thing that happened when I realized that the frozen embryo transfer likely hadn't worked when I was getting negative tests at home, I had asked my nurse when they did the beta, could they also pull a progesterone for me? And they did, and forgive me for not remembering the number right now, guys, but after the test came back negative and everything, and then I, you know, kind of had the, you know, WTF conversation with the doctor. Like, what the F happened? Why didn't it work this time? She was surprised that my progesterone was so low, considering that I had been doing injections. And she thought that it was very intuitive of me to request the progesterone, because when someone's doing injections, they normally don't pull it. They just assume that they're getting the proper amount. So she was glad that I requested it, and I guess this is a good example of how you have to be an advocate for yourself. But she was glad that I requested it, and because it was so low, she felt that the next that we should increase it. So fast forward, you guys know that I did the ERA test. So basically with the ERA test is you do everything that you would normally do for a frozen embryo transfer, except instead of having the transfer, they do the biopsy, and they do it twice in my clinic. So since I was doing everything that I would normally do for a transfer, one of that included me taking progesterone. So we made a couple of changes just to kind of test it out on this mock transfer. So one, we changed my progesterone from the progesterone in the peanut oil to the progesterone that's in the chemical base, to avoid a potential allergic reaction. I think it's called ethyl oleate, and if I'm wrong, guys, forgive me. I'm sure, you know, you guys are smarter than I am when it comes to a lot of this stuff sometimes, so definitely correct me in the comments if I said the wrong name or if I pronounced it wrong. But anyway, we switched from the progesterone in oil, which I believe was peanut oil, to progesterone and ethyl oleate. Okay, and then the other thing my doctor did is she increased me from I believe it's a cc, and I might be wrong with the measurement, but she increased it from I think it was 50 milligrams, which is 1 cc, like the number 1 on the syringe. And I should have grabbed a syringe to show you guys what I'm talking about. Hold on, be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. So yes, it's called progesterone and ethyl oleate. That's what I switched to. I don't know if I can make that clear, sorry. And instead of going from, I don't want to open the syringe and waste it, but instead of putting it in up to the 1, they had me double it to the 2. So basically it's 100 milligrams progesterone. So those were the changes. So that was to prevent allergic reactions. That's why we switched, and then to hopefully get me a higher level of progesterone, because perhaps that's why it didn't work. I mean, I don't know for sure, but the doctor was surprised with how low my progesterone was, considering that I had been doing the injections. So I'm going to backtrack. I'm sorry I'm all over the place with this story, but to backtrack, so when I got the hives and everything, I did start taking Benadryl, and took several days for it to go away, maybe like 4 or 5 days. It was like 4 or 5 days being like miserable, because the Benadryl would make me really sleepy, and then I was scared to take, you know, I really needed 2 Benadryl to like kill all the itching, but then the 2 would definitely knock me out, and I still had to go to work and I had to be able to drive around, so it's just taking a 1, so it was just really unpleasant. And so when I finally felt like all the hives had resolved and the itchiness had stopped, I stopped taking the Benadryl, and I go to work, and I'm lucky I don't work too far from my house, like 10-15 minutes away. And while I'm at work in the late morning but before lunch, my feet start itching like crazy, and I had on like a ballerina flat, so right around the top where, you know, your flat ends and your skin is exposed was itching. And I thought, oh no, the hives were not gone. I stopped the medicine too early. So I rush home, and at lunch, and I find the Benadryl. I take the Benadryl, I go back to work. Well, the itching stopped, but by the end of that day, oh, I'm sorry, and then the itching spread to the bottom of my feet, all along the arch, the ball of my foot, the bottoms of my feet just itched, and that was completely new. That wasn't an area where the hives had been. So I was just like, oh no, like I can't believe this is still happening, kind of thing. Took the Benadryl, itching stopped, but by the end of the day, when it was time for me to come home from work, the bottoms of my feet hurt so bad. It felt like as if I had had on high heels for like hours. You know how you get that, almost feels like a knot in the ball of your foot. Like I felt like I was walking on like stones, but like the stones were actually in my skin. So, you know, uncomfortable. So I had to put on sneakers, and then I had to wear sneakers the next day, and then it went away. And then it happened again with a different pair of shoes, and it was where the straps had been. And then it happened on my hand about a week or so later, where I had tried to open a pill bottle, one of those ones where you have to press down really hard, and exactly where I pressed down later in that day, my palm was itching, and then by the next day my hand hurt. So anyway, so all this to say that I looked it up, and it seemed like pressure hives, which is where you develop hives wherever you had applied a lot of pressure. So all that to say, obviously there's some histamine stuff going on in my system. I'm not sure if it was related to the progesterone or not, but we switched it just to be on the safe side, and I think the pressure hives are kind of going away. I have on a slight heel today. So far so good, but you know, that is a very strange symptom for me. Anyway, hold on guys, my camera's about to stop. Hold on, be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry, technical difficulties. Anyway, I'm just sharing all of the allergy stuff to further explain why we decided to switch my progesterone from the progesterone in peanut oil to progesterone in the ethyl oleate. So, and we increased it from the 50 milligrams to the 100, going from the 1 cc to 2 cc's per day. I opted to do the 2 cc's at one time versus doing 2 shots of 1 cc. I just do 1 shot of 2 cc. And so the point of that was to do that during kind of like the mock transfer, like preparing for the ERA. And so when they did the ERA, they also, I asked them to pull the blood work for the progesterone, and the progesterone was a 22, which they said that is normal. That's what they like, above 20 for those number of days. I had only been taking it for 5 days, and they were pleased with it. So going forward, I'm going to be taking the 100 milligrams of the progesterone. That's a shot with the 2 cc's, and then and it'll be the ethyl oleate. So that's 2 things we know, or 1 thing we know is definitely changing. I did not have any kind of allergic reaction to it, and the progesterone number was where they liked it. So another thing that I'm changing, when I was doing the progesterone before, I showed you guys how I did it kind of up high here. Well, you know, you guys see I have like some extra meat on me, so I was worried that the progesterone wasn't actually making it to the muscle. And from what I saw online, some people did report getting like breakouts when the progesterone got concentrated in the fat. And then I thought, well, maybe that's why the progesterone number didn't rise. So I'm actually now doing my shot lower. So unfortunately I can't show you guys that because I don't want to moon everyone, because I'm doing it considerably lower. But one technique I'm doing is like I'm kind of like bending over like this so that the skin is like a bit pulled more, and I think I'm definitely bending the muscle. So I'm not sure if it was the increase in the progesterone or me doing it differently, probably both, where I got obviously I was absorbing it better since the number went up. So those things are definitely changing. That's what happened with the progesterone. Sorry for the long rambling video, but so going forward, you know, still don't know the ERA results yet, so I don't know what else may possibly change with this next frozen embryo transfer. But one thing we know for sure is the type of progesterone and the amount has definitely changed from before. So I'm still, like I said, have about another week and a half to get the ERA results back, and then that will give the doctor some more information, like if we were doing the transfer on the proper day. If we were, then possibly there'll be some other changes with the transfer, like maybe doing a steroid, or maybe adding in a blood thinner. But if the ERA results show that we were actually doing the transfer on the wrong day, that I need to be like a day 6 or a day 7 person instead of a 5 days of progesterone, then probably that'll be the only change, is changing the day of the transfer and changing the progesterone. But I still have a week and a half or so to wait for the ERA results back. And because I went to Cuba, I still have a couple more weeks to wait to do my Zika blood work, because oops, sorry guys, my cat almost knocked me over, because they have to do the blood test 8 weeks after I return from a known Zika area. So but I'm not worried about that at all. So it's not going to be a whole lot to report in the next few weeks, but I will keep you posted on the results as they come in. And I think I might do a couple of trying to conceive tags, or even parenting tags, because that might be interesting to see how my views change from now when I'm trying to conceive versus in the future when I actually have a baby. So if you guys have any favorite TCC or parenting tags that you'd like to see me do, definitely leave them in the comments. And like I said, I'll keep you guys posted. If you want to reach me, definitely reach out on any of the social media that you like. I'll leave all my links below. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.